all the
Any place we study, life is life. So the wisdom of Zen is not some special wisdom, and the wisdom of improvisation is not. This is, if we look into the moment as human beings, people have found the same things, and we call it by different names and have different rules for it, but it's beyond any of our systems. It's not bothered at all by what we say about it.
That's what I want to know about right there.
To not be bothered?
No, just about what's that? What is that?
What is that?
What is it?
That's a Zen question.
Yes,
what is it? What is it?
Yeah. So in Zen, we value this not knowing. But there's a kind of not knowing that's kind of blankness, like, which is not what we're talking about. But this not knowing with this, we call it the way-seeking mind, but it's that thing that each one of us has in some way about wanting to live our life, wanting to know there's some mystery here. All of us have some sense we came from some place we don't know, we're going to some other place. And so in Zen, this question, what is it? You can feel the aliveness. I mean, as you say that, as I say that. So what if we just stayed with that? With the aliveness of the question that arises. And that in some way, in the koan tradition especially, that's what we encourage. You know, it can be, what is it? In my tradition is a Korean Rinzai Zen tradition. And what is it is one of the traditional koans or questions. And people would be given that to work with their whole lifetime. Every time you sit down, what is it?
What is it? What is it? So this questioning, curious mind, we favor it. We don't favor the settled, I got it mind. Yeah, It's all the open ends. I was just talking to someone earlier today who were training to be a teacher. And he was saying that he has this guy who keeps coming to him who says, I've been practicing now for a year and my mind isn't calmer. And in talking to the guy who's training to be a teacher, it's like, well, what do you ask this person? Well, what are you doing to try to be calmer, he asks. No, it's what do you mean by calmness? What is this thing that you're pursuing? Because it's just a fantasy. And in the pursuing of it, what this guy and I got to talking about was, why do you do this anyway? What do you say to people about why they would ever want to practice Zen if there's no fixed thing you're going to get at the end? Like, the carrot on the stick just keeps getting further and further away because it's a fantasy. So instead, there's a way that everyone has experienced. I really believe that everyone's experienced it. I haven't found anybody who hasn't. Some little moment where the continual commentary of the mind pauses. And we can't make it stop, but we can recognize that those little moments when it pauses. And then the world reveals itself. But most of us have a running commentary. So to find that little moment, and then of course the commentary comes back in. I found it, and then lost again. But to kind of orient towards that and realize that there's a way to be free in our living, a kind of life that's not mediated by the filters of opinions and thinking. And that once we realize how much of our life is thinking, we might think we need to stop thinking. But actually, that's a hopeless pursuit, because if you try to stop thinking, thinking will fight thinking, and then it just gets bigger. Instead, there's just it's again that looking, being with, what is it? So thinking, this is thinking. What is this? What is this? What is this? And then all on its own, it starts to evaporate. We see there are little gaps everywhere in what we thought was a solid mass. And that's where freedom and aliveness comes from. The tricky, paradoxical thing is that if people try to make that happen, it just doesn't happen. There has to be something set up and then an allowing. and then the thing that can't be made to happen happens.